welcome. This is Hyde Gaming. That's Mr. Hyde to you. I stopped playing Star Wars for a little while and saw this on Steam, so I thought I'd give it a go. I played through it once, but I thought I'd do a 4-part walkthrough.
The gulls do not land here anymore. I've noticed that this year they seem to shun the place. Maybe it's the depletion of the fishing stock driving them away. Perhaps it's me. When he first landed here, Donnelly wrote that the herds were sickly and their shepherds the lowest of the miserable classes that populate these Hebridean islands. 300 years later, even they have departed.
Like I was saying before, I was rudely interrupted by the ghostly voice that pops up every now and again. Ooh. Yeah, I stopped making Star Wars videos and thought I'd do a walkthrough of this, since I thought it was such a gripping game. You can see yours. And like I said, I've played through this once before, but seeing as it's such a good story, I thought I would do a 4-part walkthrough. Amazing looking game. It was based on an island in the Hebrides. Well, we've all wanted to go there at one point in his lives. Nah. And there's one annoying thing about this game: you can't interact with anything. All I can do is walk and zoom. Walk and zoom and observe some moss growing on the rocks and a log. But you can't deny that the audio in this game is absolutely phenomenal, and it fits really nicely with the graphics. This game takes about 2.5 hours.
In the distance, I'm sure, are nothing more than relics of another time, sleeping giants, somnambulist gods laid down for a final dream. I watch the sand from my lips and grip my wrist ever more tightly. My shaking arms will not support my fading diaries.
And you forget that this game is not Amnesia or Penumbra, because it has jumpy moments in it. What's that? I thought that was a nod drawn into the sand, but never mind. Go that way. Okay. That's a nice boulder.
Dear Esther, I found myself to be as featureless as this ocean, as shallow and unoccupied as this bay, a listless wreck without identification. My rocks are these bones, and a careful fence to keep the precipice at bay. Shot through me in caves, my forehead a mouth. This area will transmit into me so. All overexposed, the nervous system, where Donnelly's boots and yours and mine still trample. I will carry a torch for you.
That really does look like a nod drawn into the sand.
You will need it for the tunnels that carry me under.
I apologise if I've interrupted the audio if you're trying to listen to it, but that's a nice boulder. I'm trying to think of things to say in this video, because it will be the first video where my voice has been captured for the entire duration of the game. So if you can put up with my voice, I'll be surprised. I'll try and throw in some random clips, some random audio to make it sound a little less boring. Do not fear me, Gypsy. And some bad impressions like that. Bit of lag there, I don't know what's going on. My computer ought to be able to handle this. I had to change the frame rate because I was trying to fraps it in 30 FPS. Good God, it was choppier than that. So, moss and ominous looking tower.
Not been taken out from the library since 1974. I decided it would never be missed as I slipped it under my coat and avoided the librarian's gaze on the way out. If the subject matter is obscure, the writer's literary style is even more so. It is not the text of a stable or trustworthy reporter. Perhaps it is fitting that my only companion in these last days should be a stolen book written by a dying man.
Nice view. That ominous looking tower in the distance I was saying earlier, that was where you end up.
When someone died or was dying, or was so ill they gave up what little hope they could sacrifice, they cut parallel lines into the cliff, exposing the white chalk beneath. You could see them from the mainland or the fishing boat, and know to send aid or impose a cordon of protection. Wait a generation until whatever pestilence stalked the cliff path died along with its hosts. My lines are just for this, to keep any would-be rescuers at bay. The infection is not simply of the flesh.
The reason I did this walkthrough was to save anyone spending the £7 if they have heard about the game and have thought to not be able to interact with anything and just walk around.
We feel no particular need to turn back. There's nothing to be seen if we did. No tired old man parting the cliffs with his arms. No gifts or Bibles laid out on the sand for the taking. No tides turning or the shrieking gulls overhead. The bones of the hermit are no longer laid out for the taking. I have stolen them away to the guts of the sun, where the passages all run to black, and where we can light each other's faces by their strange luminosity.
Yeah, they decided that walking around, not interacting with anything, and just listening to this clapped-out old man talk about his depressed past is not something they think worth paying for, then they might as well watch someone do it themselves.
Dear Esther, I met Paul. I made my own little pilgrimage. My Damascus, a small semi-detached on the outskirts of Wolverhampton. We drank coffee in his kitchen and tried to connect to one another. Although he knew I hadn't come in search of an apology, reason or retribution, he still spiraled in panic, thrown high and lucid by his own dented bonnet. Responsibility had made him old. Like us, he'd already passed beyond any conceivable boundary of life. I threw my arms wide and the cliff opened out before me, making this rough poem. I transferred my belongings from the bothy on the mount and tried to live here instead. It was cold at night and the sea lapped at the entrance at high tide. To climb the peak, I must first venture even deeper into the veins of the island, where the signals are blocked altogether. Only then will I understand them, when I stand on the summit and they flow into me, uncorrupted.
The caves on this game are the biggest achievement in my opinion. I've been looking at it like I have, but these are things that seem to be everywhere. Paint can of beams. The luminous paint. This guy on an island, an abandoned island, managed to find a vast supply of luminous paint and was clearly really bored and he decided to paint the whole cave. In what looks like, what was that? Chemical bondings. Jesus, this game isn't Amnesia, there's nothing scary in it. Could do with remembering that. I'm surprised still that the game's still a bit choppy in 60 FPS. game looks pretty awesome. I have a video coming soon, StarCraft video. It's a 30 mini challenge set by Blizzard. It's a walkthrough for each level, how to do it.
He still
That should be
maintains he
coming.
wasn't drunk, but tired. I can't make the judgment or the distinction anymore. I was drunk when I landed here, and tired too. I walked up the cliff path in near darkness and camped in the bay where the trawler lies beached. It was only at dawn that I saw the bothy and decided to make my temporary lodgings there. I was expecting just the area and a transmitter stashed in a weatherproof box somewhere on the mount. It had an air of uneasy permanence to it. Like all the other buildings here, erosion seems to have evaded it completely.
Chemistry. Chemical bond. Yeah, I guess I was right. All written on a nice boulder. I was talking about something earlier, but I think I was rudely interrupted. Oh yeah, StarCraft challenge. That should be coming sooner or later, in the next few... probably not the next few days actually, because I want to get this done first. About a week or so, because I still haven't completed it all the way through, so... The first 20 something challenges aren't too bad. After that apparently it gets pretty difficult. I need to work on my micro, but less of that, more of this. What is down there? Nothing I don't need to know about. Let's go. Do I want to go down there? Yeah. Ah, loading screens. Man's best friend. Gamer's worst enemy. Come on, load. That is the only non-spectacular thing in this game when it comes to visuals, is their loading screen. A lot of time put into that.
Dear Esther, I have now driven the stretch of the M5 between Exeter and Bristol over 21 times.
Yeah, it's a pain in the
Although I
ass.
have all the reports and all the witnesses, and have cross-referenced them within a millimetre using my ordnance survey maps, I simply cannot find the location. You'd think there would be marks to serve as some evidence. It's somewhere between the turn-off to Sanford and the welcome brake services, but although I can always see it in my rear-view mirror, I have as yet been unable to pull ashore.
Nice bit of shoreline there, with a what looks like a potential Call of Duty map going on. Some sort of wreck ship going on there. With some tag-along wreck ship in the background, who wants to be just like the bigger one. I've no idea where this is going. Seems like some sort of beaten track there. Not sure I want to be going down here.
It's only at night that this place makes any sluggish effort at life. You can see the buoy and the aerial. I've been taking to sleeping through the day in an attempt to resurrect myself. I can feel the last days drawing upon me. There's little point now in continuation. There must be something new to find here. Some nook or some cranny that offers a perspective worth clinging to. I've burnt my bridges. I've sunk my boats and watched them go to water.
That was pretty high. I wonder what's tucked away in here. Drugs, cigarettes, slaves. Slaves. Where are the slaves? Nope, not in that one. I think my one might have got out of here. And they all made a break for the top of the beach. I wonder if there's any in here. Hello! Oh, what's going on down here? Ooh, more cliff writings. What does this one say?
There must be a hole in the bottom of the boat. How else could new hermits have arrived?
I assume we're talking about slaves. That looks like an arrow to me. Let's go. Oh, let me up then. Let me up. Yeah, that's right. This way. What do you mean I can't get up? An arrow that's broke. Good feature. I should include that in more games. Can't deny though, that water does look really realistic. Even with all the drowned slave crates. Avoid the picket fence. Which reminds me of half of England. Bar the massive shipwreck.
I had kidney stones and you visited me in the hospital. After the operation, when I was still half submerged in the anesthetic, your outline and your speech both blurred. Now my stones have grown into an island and made their escape, and you have been rendered opaque by the car of the drunk.
I'm not sure what that's supposed to mean. Ooh, hole. Hole.
Is this what Paul saw through his windscreen? Not Lot's wife looking over her shoulder, but a scar in the hillside, falling away to black forever.
Does he dare? Yup. Base jump.
Come back.
I'm coming. Again. No. Ooh, nice hill. That looks creepy as fuck. I almost don't want to walk up there now. House on Haunted Hill. I remember that film from about 30 years ago. Longer than that, in fact, it's black and white. Okay, I wasn't actually around for that film.
I began to climb, away from the sea and towards the centre. It is a straight line to the summit, where the evening begins to coil around the aerial and squeeze the signals into early silence.
I love this
The
track.
bothy squats against the mount to avoid the gaze of the aerial. I too will creep under the island like an animal and approach it from the northern shore.
Can't deny that that really does look good. It'll look even better in 720 and 1080p, YouTube. That's a nice boulder.
The bothy was constructed originally in the early 1700s. By then, shepherding had formalised into a career. The first habitual shepherd was a man called Jacobsen, from a lineage of migratory Scandinavians. He was not considered a man of breeding by the mainlanders. He came here every summer whilst building the bothy, hoping eventually that becoming a man of property would secure him a wife of lineage. Donnelly records that it did. He caught some disease from his malcontented goats and died 2 years after completing it.
That's what you get for sleeping with the livestock.
Lines into the cliff that behind.
Where did this guy get the luminescent paint from? And why does he keep painting shit that makes no sense? How bored was he? Ooh. 2D plants. Nice sky. Actually looks almost like a real sky, which is great. God, it's not amnesia, go on.
Inventory. A trestle table we spread wallpaper on in our first home. A folding chair, I laughed at you for bringing camping in the lakes. I was uncomfortable later and you laughed then. This diary, the bed with the broken springs. Once asleep you have to remember not to dream. A change of clothes, Donnelly's book, stolen from Edinburgh Library on the way here. I will burn them all on the last morning and make an aerial of my own.
Ooh, cave. Let's go. 'Cause it's a long way to the top. Down here. Big fucking drop. Jesus, I'm scared of heights. There's one thing in this game I wish I could do is run. The game would be over in about 15 minutes if you could run. Not that I would want to rush, it's game time. It's a lot of fun, but sometimes walking down these paths takes the Jimmy Riddle.
Jakobsen's ribcage, they told Donnelly, was deformed, the result of some birth defect or perhaps a traumatic injury as a child. Brittle and overblown it was, and desperately light. Perhaps it was this that finally did for him, unable to contain the shattering of his heart. In half-light, the skeleton of discarded prop, a false and calcified seabird.
This guy is one cheery bastard. Oh, he's got something good to say.
They found Jakobsen in early spring. The thaw had only just come. Even though he'd been dead nearly 7 months, his body had been frozen right down to the nerves and had not even begun to decompose. He struggled halfway down the cliff path, perhaps looking for some lost goat, or perhaps in a delirium, and expired, curled into a claw right under the winter moon. Even the animals shunned his corpse. The mainlanders thought to bring it home unlucky. Donnelly claims they dragged it to the caves to thaw out and rot, but he is proving an unreliable witness.
And that's where we're heading next, by the looks of it. Caves with dead bodies thawing out. Great. Oh, you can put your eye out then. You go steady like that, you go steady. Whoa! Fuck me. Walking in the middle of a broken boat is not a good idea. Watching out for you lot. See you in a bit.
Climbing down to the caves, I slipped and fell and injured my leg. I think the femur is broken. It is clearly infected. The skin has turned a bright, tight pink, and the pain is crashing in on waves, winter tides against my shoreline, drowning out the ache of my stones. I struggled back to the bothy to rest, but it has become clear that there is only one way this is likely to end. The medical supplies I looted from the trawler have suddenly found their purpose. They will keep me lucid for my final ascent.
I gotta be honest, the caves are the best looking part of this game. It's gonna be my favourite bit to cast. Talk about, comment, whatever. So into the black asshole of the Hebrides caves we go, and join me for part 2.